Hey guys, welcome back to Big Bad Builds. This is the Admiral on the Admiral 2, where everything else goes. And we're in Big Bad Builds once again. This is my second Big Bad Build. Those of you guys who watched the previous episode on my other channel, my first channel, this is my second channel, you will know that what I like to do in Big Bad Builds is basically just build really big stuff. But I like to use vanilla Minecraft. No mods, I just like to build everything for realsies in creative mode. So we built this village today. And look at how spectacular it is. Look at all those wonderful buildings. That is an absolute lie. I didn't build this village. The world spawned this village, and that would be a very unimpressive Big Bad build if this is what I built. But what I really did build is this. Haha. This is my little forest, huge trees inspired by the forest of Loree in the Lord of the Rings movies. The intention was to create these humongous trees that have these little spirals outside of it, and you know, it has this light and really cool spooky texture to it and look to it, so it's kind of cool. So I'm just gonna give you a fly through the forest. As you can see, there are little globes at the top, lots of leaves pointing in all sorts of different directions, and I think it looks pretty good. I think I did a pretty good job. Actually, I'm right now, as of this recording, working on version 2 of this. I'm going to attempt to make it even bigger because I looked at this and I wasn't actually satisfied with how big it was. But since I built it already, I thought I might as well just show you guys what I did. So a little bit of details before I take you on the tour of the tree. This was built entirely in vanilla Minecraft. There are 6 trees in here that are absolutely unique, meaning I built 6 trees on its own, literally one tree at a time. And then what I did was I copied it with MC Edit to just make the forest look a little bigger because I was getting tired of building trees. So 6 of these trees are absolutely unique. The branches are not the same way, even the heights are not the same. They're all built from scratch. Alright, so there are no mods in this thing. The texture pack is Spax, the one that you see the Yogscast use, and I use birch wood in here because I kind of like that white color look to it. So that's the forest of Loff, Loree, as I will call it, with a totally different spelling. And the bottom is filled with birch trees, lots of foliage at the bottom just to make it look cool. Alright, so let me take you on the tour of the very first tree I built. So like I said, all the trees were individually built. So this is the first one, and hopefully I'll be done and outside will be nighttime because the nighttime view is absolutely amazing. Now it started out without wanting the door to be too obvious. So there are no lights at the door, no torches or no signs, and it's mostly covered in vines so that you can't really see what's going on. But the door in here, and we lead into this beautiful quartz floor. I love the quartz textures in BDcraft. It's absolutely gorgeous. So I used a combination of chiseled quartz blocks and pillars and lamps to make it look like that. So I didn't just want a dirt floor because I want it to look like people actually engineered into the tree. Now these trees are not filled with anything. Obviously, if they would be filled with like houses and shops and all this kind of thing for people to live in the tree trunks. So if you keep going up, there's a couple of layers around this spiral staircase. This looks kind of cool. And when you get all the way to the top here, you come up to basically the middle of the tree, which is the first landing. This first landing has a door that leads to the outside. Now, on the outside is this beautiful spiral thing, once again inspired by that big, huge spirally staircase that goes up the huge trees in Loff, Loree. And it's got a little bit of fencing so you don't fall off the edge. I contemplated not putting the fencing in there because it's supposed to be for elves, and elves are supposed to know their way around trees. But I figured I'd put that just in case. Now along the way you might see these redstone torches. Now these redstone torches are actually indicators of exit points on the tree. For instance, this redstone torch marks this ladder here that lets you go up, open this hatch, and allows you to access the outer branches of the tree. And you can hop on these. I didn't put any real links. You can walk on the branches, and it basically leads to these outlook points where you can go out and you can defend your trees by shooting arrows at the cows all the way at the bottom. Did I hit him? Did I hit him? Oh, look at that! I nailed him. That was awesome. So it leads you to these outlook points. Some of them actually even lead to these little bridges that join to the other trees. And I'll get to that in a little bit. But anyway, there are a couple of these, 2, 3, or 4 of them dotted around every single tree so that you can have vantage points for you to look out. Here's another one, redstone torch. This one has a fence gate that leads you out here. Now once again, you're gonna have to bob all over these branches and dip into here to this lookout point. You can see the village there. So yeah, the tree has a couple of these dotted all around. And I'll show you guys my building process for these trees later on, because I'm in the process of refining it and making it better so I can make even larger trees. Now once you get close to the top, you get to this first landing where obviously, you know, this is where the king's court is, or the meeting places are. There's a staircase that leads up to the second story where you can have a big table for your meetings and whatever, just all sorts of kinds of stuff. So it's beautiful glass at the top to let the light in, and it's fairly open all around. So once again, like I said, there are bits of the tree where they're not entirely marked. For instance, this one here that you can access through here that join up to other trees. So I use a thin line of quartz slabs. Now the idea of it was to make it look close to like, you know, string bridges, like really thin little rope bridges. So since this is the closest I could get, I just make them a little bit dipping, as you can see. Just a little bit of a curve to all of them to make them look a little bit more natural, as if they were really like ropes suspending from one tree to the next. Now all of them lead to another tree, and the other tree obviously has an access point for you to join up, and this is another tree altogether. So that's how the tree is designed. And let's see, let me get it to nighttime. What's nighttime? 18,000? Yeah, that's nighttime. So in the night, it looks even more amazing because I decided not to put too much light into the trees. As you can see, they're fairly dim. There's only one torch in every corner. There's not torches lighting all the way. So it has this beautiful sort of spooky look, and with the moon and the stars in the background, I think it looks absolutely amazing. I didn't want to make the trees too dense either, because I wanted you to be able to sort of glimpse through the branches to notice that obviously there's something up with these trees. But if you're, you know, walking in the midst of the forest and you look up into these trees, all you can see are just these huge trees with these staircases you can't really see the top of. And that is my Lothlorien forest. What do you guys think? If this is a map that you want in your world, please send me a message and I'll figure out a way to get it to you, whether it's an MC edit schematic, whether it's a world save. If you want this to play with your friends, please send me a message and I'll share this part of my world with you. So, leave criticisms on these big bad build. Once again, I want to stress that this was more like a prototype. Now that I know I can do this, you know, I'm going to take some time and build a bigger, more impressive version. So, I want to end this video by showing you my method in which I constructed these trees. Like I said, these trees were constructed from scratch. I scratch built these trees, no reference points, no nothing. I think they look pretty good. I think they actually look very, very decent. So here's my process. I started out with birch wood, and I started out with a circle. Now obviously the circle is going to determine not just the lower portion of the tree, but this is going to determine the main hulk of the tree. The middle section is actually a single cylinder. It doesn't look like a cylinder because of all the branches sticking out of it, but it's actually the same width all the way to the top. So I started out with a cylinder to decide how big I wanted my tree. If you don't have aren't good with making circles in Minecraft, you can obviously get those pixel circle apps that help you generate the circle in Minecraft. And what I did was I added a little bit of girth around the tree by, you know, just randomly drawing a shape around and adding roots to the tree. So I sort of stuck out certain parts, and you can have different number of roots on them. As you can see, some of my trees have big fat roots, some of them have smaller, thinner ones, some of them these long, curling, sprawling ones, some of them are just short, stubby ones, some of them split into two sections like this one here, one going left, one going right, to make them look like roots. So you sort of design around the circle in a very random shape and adding your roots as you go along. Then you sort of just slowly, very randomly build in towards the circle. Now sometimes you can double up on an existing block, or sometimes you can go in right away, something like that. So as you can see, some of these go in, some of these double up, some of these go in right away, some of them go in all the way, some of them double up, just making a random shape and slowly building up into the tree. and you will get this beautiful random shape going up. Now, the idea of making anything organic in Minecraft is you want to avoid too many straight lines. There are some straight lines in some of these trees, but for the most part, they're usually quite randomly built. So, you want to avoid any straight lines. What you can do, as another tip, is you can sort of use multiple circles in differing sizes, starting up a big one and then building a smaller circle on top of it, and then going up a couple of blocks to build another smaller circle, going up a couple of blocks. Then when you go around the tree and sort of float around, every time you see a straight line, you just stack a couple of blocks on top of it. Like for instance, if I so happen to spot like, I don't like this straight line, let me just pop a block here, and suddenly it looks not so straight anymore. So that was my method for doing the tree, and after that, obviously, I just started drawing branches out from the middle of the trunk and just surrounding it with leaves, adding some vines, and that is the end product. So, if you like this Big Bad build and would like to see more of this, please subscribe to The Admiral 2. This is where all the other stuff goes that isn't related to what my first channel is doing. So hopefully you enjoyed this build. Like I said, leave some criticism on whether you like it, whether you think it's cool, whether you think it's crap. And if you would like this part of the world into your Minecraft world, just send me a message and I'll figure out a way of getting it to you. Until the next Big Bad build, this is the Admiral signing out.